All right, so we're doing something a little different today. I've been working on finishing redoing a kitchen that we have up above this garage here. It's just kind of a studio apartment, but I've been redoing the baseboards, and I needed a depth stop so that I could trim some of the baseboard around where a vent goes. And I've had this saw for like 10 years, and it never had a depth stop. I always kind of thought it was supposed to, but never really bothered me enough to do anything about it. But I was at Lowe's the other day, and I was looking at their saws, and they all have a depth stop. It goes right here. And I have that spot for one. It's just not tapped. And then there's also supposed to be an adjusting screw right here that's drilled and tapped, and I'm completely missing that. So I emailed DeWalt and asked, is this saw supposed to have a depth stop? This is a DWS709, by the way. And he didn't really confirm if it's supposed to have one, but he sent me a parts diagram, said, tell me what parts you're missing, we'll send them to you. And the parts were not on the diagram. Yeah, so I looked up the next model to this one, and it did have all the depth stop stuff. So I replied back and said, yeah, I can't find those parts for this saw, but they are available for this saw. And I sent him all the part numbers, and I asked if I can order them, and he replied back and just said they're in the mail. So what we have here, I'll put the part numbers in the description if anybody has this saw and wants to add all that stuff. All you have to do is tap this hole and then drill and tap a hole right here. It's nothing crazy. But here's the part numbers. So we've got our, where's the part name on? I guess no part name on this one. This is the PAWL that flips up out of the way. There's the part number. And then we've got the bolt that holds the PAWL right here, along with the part number. So this will hold the PAWL to the saw. This little wave washer, just to keep tension on it so it's not flopping around. There's the part number for it. And here's the wing nut, which is used as a lock nut on the big adjustment screw, which is this one right here. So wing nut, adjustment screw. So I think I'm gonna try to mock fit them, make sure that they'll actually fit. All right, so first things first, make sure you're unplugged. So I just kind of stuck this in, and it's just kind of resting there, but as you can see, it comes down, and that's what'll be your depth stop. But we need to add this big old screw here. This is the adjustment, so you can adjust how much it stops. And then when you're not using it, this thing just flips up out of the way, like so. But I did notice one thing. So this shoulder bolt here, it's one of those tri-lobe deals. So it's squished into a, Jesus, focus, you piece of crap. So they squish the tip of it into a triangle shape. It's kind of hard to see it. It's basically like a self-tapper form tap. So I could just jam it in there, I think. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna tap it with an actual tap, but if you wanted, you could just slam this thing in and it'd be fine. Then this one here, I need to probably pop this cover off and make sure there's an opening for the screw to go all the way up in there, because in order to have the depth stop set really low, this would have to be screwed pretty far up into the hole. So I just need to make sure that's open behind there. All right, so depth stop screw should be able to go all the way up in there. Let's see. And yeah, there is a notch cut out of this plastic for it. So that's about where it'll go. So yeah, I mean, it was made for it. I don't know why it didn't get one. This is pretty dirty. Probably gonna want to clean that out a little bit. Full of MDF. Belt looks pretty good. I haven't used the saw a whole lot. I used to do some woodworking stuff before I got into knife making and metalworking, but yeah, it's been a saw's been fine. It's worked like it's supposed to. Anyways, yeah, let's tap this one. It's a M6 by 1, and this hole seems slightly a little bit bigger than I would have drilled it. That's to account for that kind of self-tapper screw. So I'm not going to go all the way with the tap. I'm only going to go about that far. That way it'll still have a pretty tight fit a little further in. Hopefully it was an M6 by 1. Yeah. So yeah, that'll screw right on in there. Just like that. And it just kind of, it makes its own threads. You can kind of see where it was rubbing on each of the triangular lobes, maybe. Yeah, see that shiny part? But yeah, that's all there is to it. So we'll take our little wave washer, throw it on the ground. It's freezing out here, so my fingers don't work very well. But that wave washer goes on this screw. And then that goes into the PAWL. And then the PAWL goes onto that. And then it shouldn't lock the PAWL in. You should be able to crank that all the way down, but you should still be able to flip this thing up out of the way. And yeah, that's it. So the only real kind of difficult part is going to be making sure we get this in the right spot so that it goes through the hole in the belt guard and lines up with the PAWL. So I'm thinking, when I was looking at the store, it looked like it was right in the middle, going up and down, and then maybe a 1/4, 3/8 of an inch down. So for an M6, this is the same thing. This is a self-tapper also. This cast aluminum is pretty soft metal, which is probably part of the reason they can use this without tapping. But yeah, it's M6 by 1, so I'm gonna go grab a 5mm drill, which I think is about 200 thousandths of an inch. And we'll just drill a hole and tap it, throw this thing in. All right, try to give you a little bit better angle, but what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna mark into the sides of the PAWL. Right there. Yeah, that should be fine. Looks like it just goes in between here. So this is about 21 millimeters, a little under. So we'll go about 10.5 millimeters from the edge. Try to put a little mark there. We'll go from this side also. Put a little mark there. And there. Okay. Yeah, that should be good. Okay. Okay. Make sure it looks good. And it does. Looks pretty good. So step 1, I'm going to drill a little pilot hole. Let me hit this center punch a couple more times. And I want it to be square with this flat face here. So I'm going to try to get her all lined up. Looks like about right there. make sure our guard's gonna work. Oh yeah, that's perfect. It's coming out right in the center there. It won't really matter if it's off a little bit. If it's off too much, you might have to kind of make this hole a little bit bigger, but at the end of the day, it's gonna work as a depth stop as long as it's somewhere in there. And then I've got a number 10 drill bit, which is just under 5 millimeters, which is the drill size for an M6 by 1 millimeter bolt. You just take the M6 is 6 millimeter bolt, and then the pitch is 1 millimeter. You just subtract the pitch from the diameter. Super easy with the metric stuff like that. Okay. Okay. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to get a tap in there really. Let's see if we can stick it in our drill. Make sure we're lined up square. Okay. I didn't go all the way through because this is a self-tapper and I want it to be a somewhat tight fit. So I think this cutting its own threads for just those last few threads will kind of help keep it from rattling around. That's the idea anyways. But I didn't want to make the screw cut the whole 1/2 inch of threads. That'd be, I don't know, it seems like it'd be kind of difficult. I also don't want to really break the screw. Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to go a little bit further with the tap. I'm just gonna go almost all the way. See if that's enough. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna have to take it back out to put the wing nut on, but I mean that seems to be pretty good right there. I'm sure guard still fits like a glove. So now we have a depth stop. We flip this thing down. Boop, boop, boop. Just like that, and you can adjust it by just screwing it in or out. So yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, that's as clean as I'm gonna get her. Take our 3 screws to hold the belt guard on, and we'll snap them back in. Make sure this guy's good and tight. So you can flip it out of the way when you're not using it, and flip it down when you are using it. And then make adjustments. You just unscrew it, tighten up your wing nut. You're good to go. Yep, that's it. Pretty sweet. I think even if you had to pay for these parts, like this PAWL was like $2. The screws were under $2, you'd be into it less than 10 bucks, I think, even if you had to just pay for these parts. But when I emailed them and just said, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to have it, like there's holes drilled for it, it's all there in the casting. This was a $500 or $600 saw. I don't know, maybe it was just the guy I got, but he was super nice about it. All I had to do was send him some pictures of the saw, the serial number, the date stamp, and gave him the part numbers, and he got them in the mail for me, so that was super cool. I don't think any other tool manufacturers do anything even relatively close to that, like dealing with Milwaukee for a warranty, or Ryobi. Definitely not Makita. Makita, you don't stand a chance with their warranty department. I've gone through probably 1 million of these batteries, but I keep buying them for some stupid reason. But yeah, that was super cool. They just shipped me the parts. They were here in like 2 or 3 days. And now I have a depth stopper. Anyways, hopefully this helps somebody. Thanks for watching. See you later.